Welcome, folks, to this JMC webinar, welcoming new users to JMC Office. My name is Jake, and I am the lead trainer here at JMC. Prior to becoming a trainer with JMC, I was a classroom teacher at a small school in Northeast Iowa. I taught high school English for about 10 years. Then I jumped over, became an instructional coach. I worked with a consortium of schools in Northeast Iowa for about 6 years, primarily engaged in grading practices and things of that nature. And that's what kind of where I crossed paths with JMC. And today we are joined by Brian Wall and Amy Bemis. Brian and Amy, you want to say hey and introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Amy Bemis. I'm in Southwest Iowa. I joined JMC just this last fall, and prior to that, I was a high school counselor. I've actually been a counselor at all grades, and I was an elementary teacher when I first started out many years ago.
And I'm Brian Wall. I've been with JMC for about a year as a client services specialist. I retired a year ago after 34 years in education, first 10 as a high school math teacher, and the last 24 as a middle school, high school principal. And for most of those 34 years, I was a JMC user.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you very much. So happy to have you joining us today. This session is geared toward new users for JMC. So if you have found yourself over the summer joining a JMC school, or maybe changing up roles in your existing JMC school, and now you need to get to know JMC Office a little bit, this webinar today is going to serve as a high-level overview of everything JMC Office. So in this webinar, we'll be delving into the functionality of JMC software, which seamlessly integrates and streamlines multiple areas of your school's operations, enabling you to focus on what truly matters, which is your students. So we have the Q&A feature built right into RingCentral. If you have any questions as we go on, please feel free to chime in through that. We also have an extensive training staff available. So if you are a new user to JMC and you're watching this video after the fact, as many folks do as a part of our new user series, we invite you to reach out to training@jmcinc.com. You can ask any questions. You can ask to set up a one-on-one session, and we can remote in and help you out with anything and everything JMC. So just to reiterate, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to be going over the 20+ modules that comprise JMC. We'll review the practical advice on how to efficiently manage student and contact information. And we'll take a look at your school's JMC site. And at the end of this session, if you have questions or anything like that, again, we have a number of resources available on our YouTube channel that dive much deeper into our specific modules. So I would invite you to check out our new user series playlist on YouTube, and you can get some really practical information and resources about using those specific modules that we're going to really high level view today. So starting out with your school's JMC site, each school district has its own unique URL. For example, yourschool.onlinejmc.com. We call this your school's JMC main page. That page is going to take you to a landing page with some poker chips on it. Each of these poker chips represents a portal in JMC. You'll notice we have JMC Office and JMC Teacher and JMC Student and Family, along with the Community Messenger, the Point of Sale, Gate, and coming this fall, General Store. And we have available right now new Family Enrollment. So each of these portals requires some login credentials. You'll log into JMC Office, and then with its robust functionality and intuitive interface, the JMC Office software solutions helps schools and administrative professionals save time, eliminate outdated processes, and streamline workflows. So I like to tell users, if you do it in a school, most likely JMC has developed a way to try to make the process more efficient. So first look for a solution. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create a bunch of spreadsheets and Google Docs and Google Forms. Most likely all of it is built right into your system. Alongside our comprehensive lunch module, JMC offers a point of sale application for school cafeteria sales. So JMC's point of sale is an easy to use and efficient addition to any school's breakfast or lunch line. You can ring up meal purchases, access detailed reporting of both meals and a la carte purchases, and more. So the point of sale located right here on the menu tree, just below office. We mentioned that because many times those front office staff members end up being the ones that use that point of sale application as well. For teachers, we've got JMC Teacher as a portal where we have all sorts of solutions, including student assessment and classroom management solutions, everything from seating charts to lesson plans, the ability to streamline attendance, and so much more. JMC software strengthens the connection between home and school by offering families a 360-degree view of their student, from discipline interventions and busing information to academic progress and more in JMC Family. JMC Family is also the portal where your families will go to complete online registration. So either course registration or back to school registration. Your families have all the access that they need to their own data. So if they have a change in phone number, they have a change in address, they can update all of that themselves in JMC Family. And it's just a matter of you importing those changes into JMC Office. We have the same thing with students. Offering students a comprehensive view of their academic life can lead them down to the path to success. JMC's student software solution allows kiddos to view all data related to their coursework from the convenience of a web browser. So they can check out their attendance information, progress reports, lesson plans. They can register for courses and check their own meal account balances as well. The new family enrollment solution allows new families to quickly enter their demographic data and information about students who are going to be enrolling in your school. It's a great way for front office staff to streamline the approach or the process of adding new students and new families to JMC. So you've got a brand new school or brand new student that's showing up to your school, brand new family that's moving in. You would add them through that new family enrollment portal and let them take charge of their own demographic data, so you don't need to manually enter that yourself. The Community Message Center, or the Community Messenger, is a brand new innovation that we just rolled out here recently that extends beyond just the school community. It extends to the entire community. So if you have members in your community that want to stay up to date with what's going on in your school, and you purchase that Community Messenger, it allows you to send targeted communications, whether they be emails, text messages, voice to text, or a combination thereof, to those contacts, and then keep everybody else in the loop as to what's going on in your school, just with a few simple clicks there. So any questions about the different portals in JMC? That's kind of a high level view of all the things that JMC has to offer. And we're going to jump into JMC Office here coming up next.
Don't see any questions. Think we can just keep on rolling.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So getting started in JMC Office with the key pages and features, starting with your home page. So your JMC homepage is the central hub of JMC Office, keeps you informed about important tasks while also being the jumping off point to all other pages. So we're going to take a look at a few different sections of that homepage, including what's going on in the middle, the quick access items on the right-hand side, and the menu tree on the left. So starting with the center of the action here, the center of the home page is where you are going to see what's going on in your school, all with just a few simple views. Right in the center of the screen on that home page, you're going to see the school day number and the current date. Often handy for folks that are counting down the days to day 100 or day 180. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll receive alerts. So these are pending submissions, whether they've come from JMC Teacher or JMC Family. You can quickly view any information that might be coming into JMC that needs your attention, such as health submission, discipline records, communication records. any of that stuff is going to show up in the upper right-hand corner. Right in the middle of the page, the most convenient way I would say to stay up to date with all things JMC would be these weekly webinars. And of course, these are recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel. So a combination of attending live webinars and visiting our YouTube channel regularly will keep you up to date with what's going on in JMC. But these webinars are free. They're available for anybody who wants to click these links right here on your homepage to sign up for. So if you see a topic that is of interest to you, or oh, hey, my job description requires me to do X, Y, and Z. I wonder how to do that efficiently in JMC. Go ahead and sign up for the webinar for free. And even if you can't attend live, we will still send you a copy of that video along with our presentation slides when all is said and done. Also on the homepage in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to notice some quick links that will help you with things like support. So if you need, if you have a support question, so technical support would involve things like, you're receiving errors in JMC, you don't know why you're receiving the error. You can reach out to support, screenshot that entire screen that shows the error, that shows the pathway that you're navigating to. And our support staff will get back to you very quickly. If you ever notice something that does not exist within JMC that's going to make your life and everybody else's life so much easier, feel free to submit a feature request. As long as you have your email address associated with your JMC office account, you will have that submit a feature request link activated. And this is how we grow our software. So everything that you see in JMC Office and JMC Family, Student, JMC Teacher, most of this stuff came directly from users. We've got teachers, front office staff, they know their jobs better than anybody. They can tell us what they need to have quick, efficient access to. And a lot of times those get built right into the program, help make things even more efficient and smooth. So the current year is listed in this switch year drop-down list. You can access prior years, and after your building rolls up or moves up their data from one year to the next, you can access the next year as well. So these are all color coded. We like to reiterate to users to make sure you are in the proper year if you are performing any activity in JMC. The key would be, if you're working on something for the upcoming year, to make sure that when you go back to work on something in the current year, that you're in the correct year. We also have a quick links section, and that quick links section is going to be dynamic based on each page that you visit in JMC. So these quick links might change depending on where you are in JMC, and they provide you with quick access to what you might be doing next in JMC. So for example, if you're on the discipline page, it might be predicting that, hey, you might want to go to the message center after this. So there might be a quick link to the message center over here. We also in the bottom right-hand corner have an in-app help widget. We named him John after the company's founder, John McElmurray, JMC, John McElmurray. This help center allows you to grab any articles that are in JMC over any of the hundreds of processes. So most of what you might be looking for is probably documented in an article right into our help center. And if not, you can reach out to somebody on our training team who will be there to answer your question, usually within 5 to 10 minutes of you posting it through our in-app help widget. So very handy way to get support right there. And on the left-hand side, we have our menu tree, which is our navigation to JMC. Each of these modules in JMC is what we call them, can be expanded to show some more, either data entry or reports that might be associated with things like schedules or grading or attendance, discipline. We'll go through each of those at a very high level here in just a second. And we have that home link right at the top that's always going to return you to this page. So a nice little level set. If you ever get lost in JMC, click home. It's going to return you right back to this view with your home page. So let's take a live look quickly at the JMC homepage. I've logged into JMC. I'll log out just to show you the landing page and show you how you'd get there. I'm going to remove everything in my URL right down to the .com. So my landing page, JMC Paul, is my site, .onlinejmc.com is my site that I'm visiting. Here are my poker chips. And to visit a portal, click into the office, and you might notice, oh, there's a stark difference in the look and feel of your landing page versus when I go to try to log into a portal. We are updating the look and feel of all things in JMC. So for example, if you go into the community messenger, which is one of our newest innovations, this is already going to be updated in the new look and feel. So you'll get an idea of what our login pages and what our software is going to look like after it's fully updated by taking a look at the community messenger. So you enter your username, your password. If you need to change your password, you can change your password right from the login page right here, just with that checkbox. You'll notice a client number in the bottom right hand corner there. This client number is specific to your school. So you might, every once in a while, if you have to reach out to support, you might have to supply them with your client number. That's located right here. If you have multiple buildings in JMC, these are all located in the school drop-down list. So we've got the district level, and you might have a high school, middle school, elementary, and then we have the switch year. You can switch year upon login, and you can switch year after you log in. So here are just some of those pieces that we talked about during the presentation portion. Any item that needs your attention is available for click. So hey, I've got a pending family enrollment submission. So I can click this link and it's going to take me directly to the spot in the program that needs my attention. Now I can go in here and do what needs to be done. Oh, okay, I've got a new contact. Let's go ahead and add that contact so I can accept. And yeah, I'm going to go back home, orient myself right back to my home page here. Top center, I've got my school day. It's day 1. I see the current year. I can switch my building. I can switch the year. The quick links are going to take me to a specific spot in the program from the home page. It's going to suggest that, hey, maybe you want to look at some student data. So I can either click the quick link, and you notice how it changed when I visited a new page. Go back to home, reorient myself right in the center. I've got my upcoming training opportunities, which would include the summer conference, which is coming up right around the corner. We would encourage all users, not just new users, but all users to check us out in Iowa on June 20th and in Minnesota on June 18th. More about that later. Menu tree on the left-hand side here, we're going to go through each of these modules, but this is how you would navigate JMC. So for example, I can go to schedules, and then it just revealed several other options or items for me. I can get into developing schedules. I can bulk load courses. I can utilize the scheduling aid and a number of reports that go along with schedules. And I can just breadcrumb my way back up through those. So navigating JMC, I can open up a lot of different items here, and it stair steps it out for me. So I can go into discipline, data. Now I can edit student discipline right from this page. Menu tree item can go away depending on the page that you're visiting to increase space on the page for you to view everything. You can click this hamburger icon. It's going to reopen your menu tree. I can go back home. It's going to take me right back to where I started. Any questions or anything that anybody would like to show or tell about on that JMC landing page?
I know as an administrator, I would get into Office and I bookmarked Office. So sometimes I'd forget how to get back to that landing page where all the portals are. So you just, like you demonstrated, get rid of everything after and that'll get you right back to that portal landing page.
Yeah, that's a great helpful tip there. You know, if you need to, this login page, actually, I've already logged in, so it's going to keep me logged in for I think 24 hours before it makes me re-log back in, re-authenticate. But this is probably the page that most folks would bookmark. So it can make it challenging if like, hey, I'm logged in here, but I'm also a teacher and I need to log into JMC Teacher. Well, if you take a look at the pathway, you can see, all right, well, that's my office login. And if I eliminate that, just like you said, it's going to take me back to, now I can log into teacher, and now you can see, all right, this is my teacher login. So it looks very similar. The login pages look very similar. You can pay attention to your URL, and that's going to tell you exactly what portal you're trying to log into. With that, let's take a look at the view student data page. This is probably the most frequently used page in JMC, with hundreds of student fields being tracked in JMC. We identified the challenge of how we were going to make the student data available to you. So we knew that this solution needed to be simple, easy to navigate, and accessible. So we wrangled all that data and provided a student dashboard on that view student data page in JMC Office. This page will be your most visited, most familiar page for much of your student information, since all of this information can be both viewed and edited from here. To get you started, you're going to head to View Student Data in JMC Office. So it's the very next thing right below Home, View Student Data. What you're going to notice, there's some basic demographics right up top here. You got students' first, last name, gender, grade, along with birth dates on the general tab. We've got a number of tabs that follow all that student information. The general tab has student's birthday, graduation day, their username and password for logging into JMC student, a whole bunch of stuff that you can include on this page. In the upper right-hand corner, you've got the contacts that are associated with the student. Might be a primary contact. We have a number of different contacts available for students, primary, secondary, doctor, emergency contacts. I think up to 10 contacts can be associated with a student. So anybody that might be associated with your student can be listed as a contact up here. We have a great webinar on contacts in JMC, editing contacts in JMC, associating contacts with students. I'd invite you to check that out. So let's take a quick live look at the View Student Data page. So again, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to the View Student Data page. I can also go to the Edit Student Data page. These are the same pages. So Edit Student Data, we wanted to pull it out of being buried underneath the Edit Student Data, so we made it its own page right here. So View Student Data right at the top. You've got the ability to sort your students right here. So you can sort by grade level. You can sort by all students or just all active students. You can view inactive students as well. You can search in the find field, pull up using the drop-down list. Drop-down list is in alphabetical order for your students there. The navigation from one student to the next. So I'm on James right here. This is all fictional data, by the way, I should point out. So YouTube, don't take us off of YouTube for showing fictional data for demonstration purposes. And right click, that's going to take me to the next student. I can click on the right arrow, it's going to take me to the next and so on. If I want to go to the previous, I go to the previous. So a great way to navigate this page would be to pull up, say, all right, I want to just check out my first graders, and I can go from one first grader to the next, to the next, to the next. You're noticing all of the data that would be associated with a student on this page right here. So starting with the most basic name, demographic information, gender, grade, contact information right here. On the general tab right down here, we've got the student's status as far as active, whether they're included in attendance reporting, state reporting, if you want them included in class rank, honor roll, those sorts of things. You got your student's birthday, graduation date, username and password for the family portal, or I'm sorry, for the student portal, email addresses and cell phone numbers associated with your students, and any comments that you would like to include about the student. We also have a comments tab that's going to allow you to have comments about a student that are viewable only by office staff members, or we've got viewable comments for teachers and office staff members as well. A number of different tabs. I'm not going to go through each of them today, but if it's associated with the student specifically, it's on this page right here. So Brian, Amy, anything to add about the view student data page?
I just love that you could put information in one place and then push it out to that student's teachers rather than a whole bunch of emails or sharing it on a Google Doc somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're referring to the quick link over here on this right side. You actually can email all teachers of this student right from this dashboard. So a very handy quick link. Like, oh, James is sick today. I need to let James's teachers know that he's sick today. I can come in here. And I mean, that can be communicated through attendance as well. But if I have some special instructions for James, I can email all of his teachers right here. So very slick. Not seeing any questions, so we're going to move right along here. To adding a new student. So this is one of the most basic functions that you're going to perform as a front office professional. It's important that you do it correctly to make sure that the student's not only entered into your database correctly, but available for things like state reporting, if that's a necessity as well. So the new student wizard provides the most efficient path for entering a new student or returning fifth-year senior into your school's database. The Wiz will guide you through the necessary steps to make sure the appropriate information is ready to share with the Department of Education. Simply enter basic demographic and enrollment data with the new student wizard to add a new student in JMC Office. In JMC Office, you're going to head to Edit New Student Wizard to enter a new student. Step 1, select the new to district or returning student radio button to choose how the student will be enrolled in your district. A new student is a student that has never been entered into your JMC database before. A returning student could be a graduated senior that was exited from your database and is now returning to your school. So the key here is you don't want dual records. So if you're at all wondering, you know what, has this student been to our school? Is this student into our system already? You can go to that view student data page. You can sort by all students, not just all active, but all students, and then search that student's name in the find field to see if that student exists in JMC already. Select a returning student from the Find Returning Student drop-down list and click the Accept Student button to re-enter a graduated senior to your database. If that's where you're going with this. If you're entering a new student, simply click that New Student button to begin entering data for your new student, or click the Cancel button to exit the new existing student pop-up. Step 3, you will enter a last name, first name, gender, and grade in the appropriate fields to create your student record. So these are the 4 fields that are mandatory in order to create a student record: last name, first name, gender, and grade. Step 4, an optional step, would be to enter the appropriate student information on the general tab to complete your student record. You can skip to the next stage and do this later. This is totally fine. But when you're creating a student record, you know, maybe you just have the last name, first name, gender, and grade. You want to come back and enter this at a later time, you can absolutely do that, or you can fill it out as you're entering the student. At some point, you're going to want to enter all of that information though on that general tab, and then click either of the save buttons up here or down here, and that's going to advance you to the next stage in the enrollment process. The next stage when you're entering a new student would be to associate the enrollment record with that student. And this is important for state reporting purposes. So you've got the student that you just entered, right? Listed right here. Step 6, you'd select the day from the day box to set the starting date for that student's enrollment. Fun fact for Iowa, Nebraska, and Wisconsin schools, if the student enrolled over the summer, if so, you'll select the first day of school from the day list box to set the starting date for the new student as the first day of school. For Minnesota schools, if the student joined over the summer, you'll click the skip add button to skip adding that student, as JMC will automatically enroll the student on the first day of school. So slightly different processes. That's because of some state reporting elements in there. It's a little bit different for Iowa, Minnesota schools, or Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin schools than it is for Minnesota. Back to the enrollment entry page. So step 7, you'll select the appropriate entry code from the entry code drop-down list to specify the condition under which the student is entering the district. For example, they have enrolled in, they've open enrolled in, they've tuitioned in, etc. If you have questions about what code is appropriate for the student based on the situation, we might ask you to reach out to your Department of Education. We can show you where to enter that information, but as far as how to code it, that's kind of up to you and to your district and to the state to decide how a student should be entered or enrolled. Step 8, you enter any of the other applicable enrollment information using the appropriate fields, drop-down lists, and checkboxes to complete the selected student's state reportable information, and then click the add button to save that newly added student with the start date. You can also skip add and just kind of avoid this page altogether if you're in a hurry. The key is you've got to come back and do the student enrollment information, or that's going to cause you problems down the road for state reporting purposes. So bottom line is a student would need a state reportable record when you're adding them in order for them to be included in your school's enrollment, which is important for receiving funds and all that sort of stuff. Minnesota schools can just click that skip add, and that student would be considered started on the first day of your school year. Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin schools, you would actually have to enter this information and then click the add button. So let's take a live look at entering the student with the new student wizard. I'm under file. I'm sorry, I take that back. We go home. I'm going to go to edit, new student wizard. So we're under edit, new student wizard. This pop-up will say, hey, is this student new to the district or are they returning? You know what? I'm not sure. So I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to go to the view student data page. Rather than having all active, I'm going to search all students. And then I'm going to look for my kiddo from here. So I'm looking for Jane Doe. Jane Doe is not in there. Okay, good. I can add Jane Doe into my database. If I look and I start typing in the student's name and I see, oh, you know what? This student has been in my district before. So in this case, I would be returning a student rather than, and your students that are inactive are going to have little stars next to their names. These check boxes will be removed. That's totally fine. The key is we don't ever really want to delete a student from your database just in case they return to your district ever. That way we can have that complete enrollment record that kind of goes from that student's kindergarten year all the way through their graduated senior year. So we want to keep that record as consistent as possible. And the way to do that would be to not enter duplicate students and just to continue on record. So the only time you really want to delete a student is if they've been entered in as an heir. The only time that you would want to add a student would be one time if they are brand new to your school. So I'm going to go to edit, new student wizard. We're going to add a student that's new to the district. So it's a new student. I need to enter their last name, first name, gender, and grade. And now I have a record That's the most important thing. I can fill in these columns as needed, or the general tab, the item on the general tab. But if I don't know the student's birthday and I don't want to figure out their graduation date and give them a username and password and all that fun stuff, I can just click save, and it's going to advance me to the next portion, the ad. And you can see that I'm in the 24-25 school year right now, and we're in that happy point in the year where we're moving on from last year and thinking about next year. So once the state that you're in has certified the data that they want to collect, you're going to see this information populate in on this page. I can bounce back to last year to show you what this would look like, or what this page would look like. But this is just the page that you would add your enrollment information to. So bounce back to JMC office. It didn't like me switching years when I was trying to add a new student right in the middle of that process. Okay. That's awesome. While I am logging into my new site here, Paul, or I'm sorry, Brian or Amy, do you have anything to add here?
I just think it's the new student wizard is really helpful in that it makes sure that you don't skip any steps along the way of getting a new student in, because it wasn't something that was my responsibility as principal, but I know that our secretaries were really diligent about and understood the importance of getting all that data in there correct the first time, because like you mentioned, there's school funding tied to these students. So you want to make sure that you've got everything in there correctly. And JMC does a nice job of keeping you on track with that new student wizard, so you don't skip any important steps along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I was wanting to get back to this page to show you, all right, I can enter the date that the student is joining my school. This is an important piece, because if it's before a certain date or after a certain date, that is directly tied to the student's funding. So how the student is entering, if this is an open enrolled student or if this is a tuitioned in student, that's important for the state to know as well. So you'd enter that information, and then you would add that student in order to get them into your database. So, and now with that completed, with a new student wizard completed, I can be ensured that my student is entered correctly. The information that the state needs is entered properly. If there aren't any questions, we'll kind of go into high-level views of some of the modules in JMC. So over 25 plus modules and apps. JMC software is intentionally modular, so you can customize the system with only the features that you need, creating a more efficient and manageable tool for your school. As you update your software license, it's the perfect time to add more functionality to your JMC toolbox. The other thing that I would add is these modules are user specific. So if you're brand new to JMC and your JMC admin has decided, you know what, you might not need some of these things. You might not need discipline, for example. They have the ability, your admin has the ability to shut off discipline for specific users. So if I'm going through these modules and you're not seeing these modules on your homepage and you feel that you need to, contact your JMC admin at your school, and your JMC administrator can grant you permission to view some of these pages, provided you have them built into your site license. So moving from top to bottom, The attendance module it's required to run the office portal. It's the heart of the system. It allows you to track student and teacher demographic data. This is where you enter your students. This is where you would add your teachers. This is the page that we just went to add students and drop students with that enrollment information. That's located under attendance as well. I think we have two attendance modules. We have an attendance and we have a period attendance module. We'll get to the period attendance module in just a second, but I think of the attendance module as the home to all of the state reportable information, kind of the heavy lifting attendance module. The period attendance is more of the optional, but it allows you to track why a student was absent, all that fun stuff. Moving into schedules, you can manage all scheduling information within the schedules module. You can create your master schedule with scheduling. This is where you would schedule students into courses. This is where you would build courses. All of that is done within schedules in JMC. Grading, it's an excellent management tool. Everything from GPAs to transcripts. You can edit course grades for students on that page as well. You can accept or turn on the grade acceptance process for your teachers. So once you've gotten to that end of term, you can turn on the ability for teachers to submit grades to the office right from that grading module. Basically anything involved in gradings, you print report cards right from that grading module as well. So all things grading in the grading module. Period attendance, like I alluded to, allows you to track absences, tardies, and reasons for absences on a period by period basis. This also allows your teachers to submit attendance information directly from JMC Teacher, and it can be accepted into JMC Office. So a way to efficiently streamline the attendance process. So if you're of kind of the old school approach to attendance, and you might have a kid running down attendance to the office, or maybe you have the paper slips that you hang outside your door. This is a much more efficient way of getting those attendance records into JMC. So if you're doing the paper slips, somebody's going to have to then enter all of those absences on the JMC end in JMC Office. If your teachers submit attendance through period attendance, then it's all right there for you. Discipline allows you to track student behavior. Teachers can submit discipline records. You accept them in JMC Office, or you can create discipline records through the discipline module. The activities module allows you to create activities such as extracurricular activities, sports, football, baseball, basketball, choir, band, fine arts stuff, all that sort of stuff. You create those activities, you add students to those activity rosters. You can allow coaches and advisors to manage those rosters by placing them in charge of an activity. And then your coaches and advisors can download the Coach Advisor app for free, and they can manage their own, and they can send communications through that module as well. So a very handy add-on, that activities module. Communication is our inner office communication module. So this allows teachers to communicate with office staff members and vice versa with important information regarding a specific student. The health module for nurses in your school or healthcare professionals in your school to track medications, track medical emergency plans, anything health related for students can be added in that health module. You have state reportable information. Each of the states that we service has their very own state reporting module. I just happen to be showing an Iowa database here. But this might be Wisconsin, Nebraska, any state that we are in, anything that is state reportable, however your state reports their information, can be done right through this. The lunch module allows you to set up payments, meal prices, a la cartes, accept payments. It's your tracking software for tracking student account information. You can add your payments right into here, and it will show student account balances. You can email or mail lunch balance notices, all that fun stuff. And similarly, it works in conjunction with JMC Family. So if you have online payments, your families can submit payments through JMC Family, and those payments can be accepted in JMC Office. So the two work together, providing a convenient way for families to stay informed about their students' lunch habits and potentially make any payments to unpaid meals charges. So the tuition and fees module works very similarly to the lunch module, with the exception of families can view any tuition and fee charges that they have. You can make charges or add charges to students or add charges to families, track when those payments come in, or if you have online payments, those payments can come in through the portal, and you would use the JMC software as your accounting tool to make sure your family fee balances are up to date. Standards and benchmarks for schools, typically elementaries, that utilize standards-based end of term reporting. So like a standard-based report card, your database of standards can be built right into JMC in the standards and benchmarks module. And then you can use that in conjunction with the form designer, which I'm going to get to in just a second here, to create those standard-based report cards that would use that or leverage that database of standards that's built right into your system. Nice thing with standards benchmarks, to back up just a second, is you would create your own database. This isn't a database that we're leveraging national standards. So if you have local standards that you want to include, you would enter those standards directly into JMC yourself. The Message Center is our fully integrated voice, email, and text messaging module that allows you to communicate with families, students, your staff effortlessly in any manner of communication that they want to receive. So if the only way that you can get information in front of the eyes of your families is by sending a text message, you can easily send a mass text message through the Message Center. As I alluded to earlier, that form designer, you can make the use of any custom form in your school that your school uses. So if your school sends out communication regarding attendance information, you can create those attendance form letters in JMC and populate all that information, leveraging the information that's listed in JMC already. So you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time editing those attendance letters and then sending them out to individual students. It's a huge time saver, literally saves front office staff hours if you are sending out those attendance letters. Similarly, we have standard-based report cards that you can build right into JMC, allows your teachers to enter grades directly onto a standard-based report card or use a grade book to get those results onto a standard-based report card. You print those out in JMC Office, distribute them either through email or mail those out. If your school is using like a web document or like a Google Doc to create those report cards, you have to go in and edit each of those report cards individually. You're trying to manage templates. There's a whole lot going on that you would have to manage on a yearly basis to make that work. The form designer would cut out hours and hours of time, both for teachers and front office staff managing that. Enrollment forms allows you to track new family enrollment online. So you can greet your new families with customized messages for who to contact in your school upon completing these forms, what these forms mean. You can get all that demographic information from your families that they fill out in the new family enrollment portal. You accept it right into your system through the enrollment forms module. Online payments, if your school has online payments, we use a third-party Nelnet payment services as our bank, and we have the online payments module that allows you to connect JMC to Nelnet and allow your families to make payments online through the JMC Family Portal. Speaking of JMC Family, convenient way for families to ensure their school district has up-to-date information about them and their students. The JMC Family module allows you to go paperless on back to school night by collecting answers to health and custom fields questions, contact information, free and reduced lunch forms, and even sign and return forms right in JMC. So you can manage JMC Family right through this JMC Family app or module in JMC Office. And then your families can submit a plethora of information. Usually it's information that you would collect on back to school night, but you might collect it paper pencil and then have to enter it by hand into JMC, which would be very inconvenient to say the least. And we also have the teacher conference scheduler, which allows teachers to our families to sign up for certain teachers for conferences. You can manage the length of conferences, the teachers or the courses that should be involved in those conferences. Your families can sign in on JMC Family to view the conferences that they've been scheduled to, or to schedule for conferences themselves. Your teachers can keep track of who's signed up for conferences. Lots of messaging and emailing capabilities, as well as reports to see who's signed up for conferences, who's attended conferences, all sorts of fun stuff right there built into your system. And there is more than just that. We've got several different apps that are available in the App Store for free. We've got the Admin Connect app, the JMC Family app, the Coach Advisor app, all streamlined ways to keep track of JMC when you're away from your computer, condensed format. The JMC Family app, for me, I love it just for the simple fact that I can make meal balance payments for my students right from my phone. I never fails. If my kid can't get seconds at lunch because he doesn't have any money in his account, he'll email me or he'll text me and say, "Hey, Dad, I need money in my account." And within minutes, I can have it there, and he's able to get his belly full. So let's take a look at a few of my favorite features that make up JMC Office. Brian and Amy, feel free to add if you want to show any of your favorite things right here. I'm not going to go through and show everything that we have to offer, but just a few of my favorite things, I would say. Getting into that teacher conference scheduler. This is a newish thing, so I really do like the teacher conference scheduler. We can create a conference date, so it's very simple. I go in here and, all right, let's see here. We're going to have conferences this Friday. We're going to start those conferences at 8 a.m. and they're going to go all day. So I'm going to grab 8 a.m. It's going to go until 4 p.m. And then my appointment links, we got about 15 minutes. That's how long they're going to take. I click save. Oh, this is for the final term. So it's the term that ends on the 5th of June. So now my teachers can go in and once the date's completed, I can decide, all right, these teachers are available in my conferences. I can email families to let them know that the conference scheduler is open. And now in JMC Family, your teachers can, or your families can sign up for conferences with their teachers, and their teachers can sign families up if they would like as well. So I like the teacher conference scheduler. Brian, Amy, what do you got?
I personally liked the message center, liked being able to track the messages that I sent. I could send to a whole group of people. I could send to individual students and their parents. I could schedule those messages. I liked all of that. I really did like the record, because sometimes it was like, did I send that? Did I not? And so that I could go back and find it by using the log. Just all those different options.
Yeah, that's
I liked the range there. Yeah.
The message center is great. And we, all of our communication that goes out either automatically or through one of the apps all gets built into the message center. Then the nice thing about communications going through this platform is you have record of everything that's being sent. So if you've got office staff that are sending text messages to students, you might be thinking like, oh, that's not a good idea. We can't send text messages to kids. But then there's that double-edged sword of like, well, kids really only are looking at their text messages. That getting them to check email, I know getting my 15-year-old to check email is not something that is part of his daily routine yet, but the thing that's built right into his hand, that is. So if I wanted to send a text message, I could grab a random contact, I could grab the student and send a text message directly to that student. I guess the student would have to have an email address, or I'm sorry, a phone number in there. But I can choose to send students, I can schedule it for later, and then I can send that text message where before I might not have picked up my phone and sent that text message to the kid, just because of the liability that goes with that. Now that I have a record of it in my external communication detail log, if somebody questions what type of message I sent a kid, we can pull it up and have that conversation. So yeah, I agree. I love that functionality.
And I liked also being able to send a message just from the school, not from me personally, by doing the no reply return address. So then I sent a lot of messages out about student grades, but I wasn't the person that could answer the questions about their grades. That was the teacher.
Absolutely.
So I wasn't getting a lot of, angry emails back to me. Why is my kid failing this or whatever? Because I could send a more general email from there.
I thought where you were heading with that was you like the ability to schedule
Well, that's too,
for
yeah, right.
5 o'clock when you're not in the office to be
Right.
So I can send this out, I can schedule it for later, families can read it on their own time, but I don't get 10 million phone calls right after I send the message. So
No, I just liked being anonymous and being able to send it in general from the school.
absolutely, yes. How about you, Brian? Anything fun to share?
Well, I spent a lot of time in the discipline module as a principal, and it's not a real pleasant thing to do, but I really appreciated the efficiency that the discipline module gave me as a principal. It was easy for my teachers to submit referrals. They would come to me, I could process those referrals, decide what needed to happen. Lots of good data fields there for collecting information about the referral. We were a PBIS school, so we could collect some PBIS data in that referral as well. And then there's always the communication aspect of after, processing a referral and dealing with the student, you need to get the parents informed about what's going on. And it was very easy right from the discipline module to share that information with parents via email. Now, granted, you're going to, in many cases, you're going to want to follow up with a phone call as well. But with that email, I had a written documentation that I had, informed students of or parents of what was going on with their student. And it really was an efficient all-in-one solution for a task that can eat up a lot of time if you don't have a really organized way of dealing with it.
Absolutely. And, we come equipped with that discipline module with predefined problem behaviors. And, a lot of these are associated with state reportable problem behaviors. A lot of cases that state wants to know if there are, incidents involving bullying or harassment or, physical injury with a weapon, that sort of thing. They want to know about those, but you also have locally defined problem behaviors that are not going to get submitted to the state, but the flexibility of being able to create those, the problem behaviors that are specific to your school that you want to keep track of. And then of course, all of the reports that go with that. So you mentioned you're a PBIS school, you want to keep an eye on individual students, or maybe you just want a summary of any of the discipline problem behaviors that might be going on in your school. So some great options for keeping track of that. Yeah.
And I think you really, at the beginning of this webinar, you said if you need to do it in a school, JMC probably has a solution for you. And I've watched JMC grow over the years that I was an administrator, and it really was responsive to the needs of educators. And, if you need to do it, JMC probably does have a solution, or we'll look into adding one for you.
Absolutely. Getting into a bit of working with contacts. This is an important process. So if you're just getting started with JMC, we showed you how to add students. We also, showed you a little bit mile high about the different modules. We want to show you how to manage contacts as well. So in JMC, a contact refers to any individual, it's usually an adult, who communicates with the school regarding a student. These contacts can include parents, guardians, grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, babysitters, healthcare professionals, and others. And contacts are managed a few different ways. They can be managed through JMC Office or the new family enrollment portal, allowing them to associate themselves with students for appropriate data access and facilitating seamless communication between the school and stakeholders. So creating records can be done directly on that edit contacts page. So we're under attendance, contacts, edit contacts. All contacts are stored in JMC Office on the edit contacts page. It's where all the important demographic information is associated with an individual contact. So you have a contact's name, you have any students that they're associated with are listed here, addresses, phone numbers, emails, whether or not phone numbers are available for text messaging. All of that stuff is on that edit contacts page. You can manage those contacts a few different ways. You can either, update or add new contacts from that edit contacts page. You can merge contact submissions when they come through the new family enrollment portal. So if you have a new family to your district and you don't want to enter that data manually on the edit contacts page, have them fill out that information on the new family enrollment portal, and you can bring that contact in to your system. And then the JMC Family Portal allows, through the online registration process, families to keep their up-to-date records, so they can update their phone numbers, email addresses, they can update their physical address, and things like that. And then all you have to do is accept those in JMC Office. So a few different ways for managing contacts efficiently. We have the new family enrollment portal, which I mentioned just a second ago, and we've got family enrollment forms. So once families submit their information through the new family enrollment portal, you can review and then you can accept or reject those submissions on the enrollment forms page. We have a variety of different contact types. A contact type defines the relationship between a student and a contact. These types are crucial for granting appropriate access to the JMC Family Portal and linking siblings to a household. So this allows you to facilitate groupings for communication purposes and more. And in addition, contact types help the office staff identify individuals that are associated with a student, promoting student safety. So a little bit about these contact types that we have. A primary contact is anybody that is responsible for students' day-to-day well-being and activities. It's usually the contact that the student lives with. There are instances where you have a split family, so you might have two primary contacts. They would be completely separate contacts in your system, but they would both be associated as primary contacts with the student. In most cases, these are parents or step parents and guardians, but in some cases, they could be grandparents. Primary contacts have access to student information through the JMC Family Portal and receive student mailings and emails such as report cards and schedules. So an important thing to note, only primary contacts or only contacts that are associated with a student as a primary contact have access to the JMC Family Portal. Secondary contacts could be responsible for a student, but not the primary caretakers. Typically, these are non-custodial aunts, uncles, grandparents, neighbors, babysitters. They're associated with the student, but they don't need to receive communications and all that sort of stuff. So you want them in your system so that they are that they're listed with the kid, but they don't need to receive all of the updates and things like that. Emergency contacts. This is the person that's responsible when the parent or guardian is unavailable. This is also the person that can be looped in through the message center if we have inclement weather. Lunch contact. If we have a split family household, this is a person that's responsible for paying the lunch balance. And generally, this is a primary contact. But if we have two primary contacts, you could be listed as a lunch contact as well. A doctor, you can add a student's primary care physician. Storm contact is a contact for inclement weather situations, or a contact that can be defined as other is any other contact that you want associated with a student that does not fit into a specific category. Fee organizational contact, if you have an outside organization or a person that's going to be handling student fees, you've got the ability to create that type of contact as well. So associating a contact with a student is actually done on the View Student Data page. So the View Student Data page in JMC Office permits the association of up to 10 contacts with the student to ensure that schools are able to easily communicate with the most important people in a student's life. So managing student contacts, you can quickly copy a contact from one student to another. It's a case that's happens frequently with siblings. So if I've made some contact associations with the sibling, I can quickly copy those contacts from the one sibling to the next. I can use that. There's a change contact button. So I can change a contact for a student just by clicking that button and selecting the contact that's listed on the edit contacts page. Once my contacts are listed in JMC, I can create a list of contacts that are associated with a student. I can print my very own contact directory. Might be a handy document to have, you know, in a little folder right next to your desk. So if you need to grab contact information, it's all right there. You're going to export it to a CSV file. You print a hard copy, and it's all alphabetized. That's that print contact directory, and you can also export those contacts. So getting into viewing and editing contact information. Now this is the how-to. So contacts, as I mentioned, they're parents, family members, other trusted adults who might be associated with a student. We're on the attendance, contacts, edit contacts page. Now this is where we're going to go to add or edit contacts that are in our site or maybe not yet in our site. Step one, we'll either select an existing contact from that find drop-down list. Fun fact, as I mentioned before, any students that are associated with the contact will appear in this box right here. Step two, there's an add new contact button over here. If I need to add a new contact, I'll click that add new contact button. I can enter the first name, last name, address, username, password, any of the information that would be associated with a contact on this page. Fun fact, a family's default username for the family portal is the last name of the contact. However, you can update that to avoid confusion for contacts with the same last name. Step four, enter up to 8 email addresses in the appropriate fields to allow the selected contact to receive emails sent through JMC messaging tools. So as we mentioned with the message center, if you send a message to a primary contact, everybody that's every email that's listed in here is going to receive that email message. Enter a phone number. Up to 8 phone numbers can be associated with contact. Enter those in the appropriate field. You're going to enter a description such as dad's cell or mom's cell for each phone number in the description field to make that easily identifiable on the View Student Data page. Select the type, from the type drop-down list. So if the phone number is available for text messaging, you want that to be a mobile number or cell phone number, and then you can rank those. It's an optional thing, but in order of contact, who should be contacted first or what number should be contacted first. You can place a check mark in the appropriate message services checkbox to specify the purpose or category of communication associated with the phone number. And then click the save button. Once you've got all that information entered for a contact, click the save button, or you can delete a contact as well that's no longer in use. If the contact is associated with students, you won't be able to delete that contact until there is no more association. So let's take a live look at editing contacts. So I'm under the attendance, contacts, edit contacts page. So these are anybody and everybody that might be associated with a student. Click that add button to add a new contact. I can just go in and enter my information. The one thing to note here, if you are entering a couple that is sharing the same address, you would enter them in the same line. So for example, James and Kathy Doe are going to be listed just like this. So first names, both first names, and then the last name. If I have two separated contacts, they're going to be listed as separate contacts on this page. So basically what it amounts to is where is their physical address. If they have two physical addresses, they'll be listed separately. If they have one physical address, they'll be listed together. Enter my address. I can add email addresses, phone numbers, a username, password. I click save and we're good. And I am going to add a phone number for these folks because I want you to see that how that association works. We're going to describe this as that cell, and then we're going to add mom's cell. There. I'm going to click save. All right. So simple as that for entering contacts. It's on the attendance, contacts, edit contacts page. And now we're going to get into associating that contact with a student. Actually, we're going to get into printing a contact directory. I got to make sure that that's not coming up here. Yeah, okay. So I do want to show you how to associate that contact with a student. Okay, so now once the contact is created, I'm going to go back to the view student data page. And I'm going to find my student right here. So here's my student, Jane Doe, and you'll notice there's nobody that's associated with it. So I pull up my contacts. I've got a primary, but there's no family listed in here. So I need to get that family listed in there. I need to associate that student with the family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the change contact button. I'm going to select the contact that I just created. There's James and Kathy Doe right there. Select the contact, click OK. And now I've got my primary contact associated with the student. So here's James, Kathy Doe. There's their address. And now I can see there's dad's cell, there's mom's cell. If I needed to change the primary contact, I could do so. I could just click the change contact button and choose somebody else. If I wanted to add, say, an emergency contact for that student, first thing that I would do is make sure that the contact is available on the attendance, contacts, edit contacts page. And let's say here, this is, I'm just going to make Paul Aseth. Paul Aseth is going to be the contact, the emergency contact. Okay, so here's Jane Doe. Oh, I didn't save. I always do that. Save. All right, so now we're good. And now I'm going to add a new contact, and this is going to be actually an emergency contact. So I'm going to change the type here. I'm going to change the contact, And this is not going to be James and Kathy Doe. This is going to be Paul Aseth. So we're going to choose Paul Aseth, click OK. I'm going to click save. And now the student has a primary contact and an emergency contact that is Paul Aseth. Now, if I go back to the attendance contacts, edit contacts page for Paul Aseth, Jane Doe is listed as an emergency contact, or he's listed as an emergency contact for Jane Doe. And now you can see for my James and Kathy Doe, I've got my student that's associated right here in this box. So very important process in JMC is being able to associate contacts with students, knowing how contacts work with students. We've got a great resource out there available on YouTube. So I would invite you to check that out as well. So Brian, Amy, anything to add?
Nope, I think you've said it well, Jake.
Thank you. The last little bit of this, since we're going long, I'm going to kind of just breeze through this, would be printing a contact directory. So just going to go back home, orient myself to the page. All right. Under attendance, contacts, I've got my print contact directory. And my print contact directory, I can choose what contact type. So if I want to print a directory of my primary contacts, my parents, I can preview this and it's going to give me, this is my yellow pages, if you will. So I've got all of my contact names listed here, all of the students that they are associated with as a parent or a primary contact, addresses, phone numbers. I can export this to a spreadsheet. I can print this out into my very own hard copy. So if you wanted to create maybe a directory of all emergency contacts, so you had it on hand, there are a lot of folks that want this printed out and in a folder on top of the desk, just in case, we have an emergency at school, we've got a tornado that's coming through, you need to be able to contact emergency contacts quickly, but you don't want to stay, you don't have computer access. You can't bring your computer with you. You don't have internet, the power's out, whatever the case is. You print out this contact directory, you have it right there with you so you can grab it on the go. And you at least have the associations between your students and the contacts that are attached to them. Brian, Amy, anything to add about contact directories?
Nope, but I know my secretary did exactly what you said. Print it out, put it in a binder, kept it on her desk.
Absolutely. And, you do have quick access to those contacts. So you can, absolutely search a kid and then you can see who's connected to them right up here. But, it's a very handy tool to have at your disposal. So with that, we are on to a few pieces that will allow us to support you as you move along here with JMC. So first off, here's some on-demand support, quick tools for quick answers for the times when your questions don't require a tech specialist, but do require a quick answer. You can turn to our widget in our Help Center articles and video tutorials for free. So our Help Center widget, it's in the bottom right-hand corner. Obviously, you can send us a message or you can visit that Help Center. Sending a message, you can talk to somebody that's going to be available right there. A lot of times we'll get back to you within 10 minutes of you entering a message. But for the most part, our Help Center is equipped with hundreds of articles over any process in JMC. So if you get stumped, like, I don't know how to add a contact, he just rattled off how to do it. He made it look so easy, but now it's my turn. I don't know how to do that. I can go to my widget here. I can go to the Visit Help Center, or I can search for help. And I could say, enter contact. And I can see how I can attach a contact to a student. I can add or edit a contact on the Edit Contacts page. So all right, there we go. Now here's the how-to. I can follow it step by step. And the nice thing about it is I can go, let's see here. What's the first thing? Well, I got to go to attendance, contacts, edit contacts. All right, well, let's go to attendance, contacts, edit contacts. The article follows you. So now I can go, all right, step one, I can either select the existing contact or I can click the add button to create a new contact. So I love the widget, not only for communicating one-to-one with a training specialist, but for that help center as well. That help center, as I mentioned, is available outside of the widget. So, you can search the widget within the widget for help, but if I click visit the help center, it's going to take me to the full database of articles that we have. And these are parceled off by, topics here. So if I want JMC office topics, for example, office staff, it's got its own collection. I can click into office staff. I can search just office staff articles, or I can see, they're broken down by the different modules. So I've got, what's under file? Here's all the file articles. What's under edit? Here's all the edit articles. It's under attendance and so on. So lots of availability within the help center. You can even email this to teachers, and teachers can use the help center if they would like. As always, we have 24/7 training on demand. If you prefer to see a training like this, we've got, I would highly encourage you to check out our YouTube channel. And this is just available if I go to youtube.com. I'm going to type in JMC INC on YouTube. Here's our JMC training channel. And I would advise you to check out the new user series playlist. So I can either type in new user series. It's going to pop up right here, a full playlist. I can view the full playlist. And I can see here's welcoming new users. So you can revisit what we're going through right here. But if you have specific pieces like, let's dive deep into communication and discipline, or mastering attendance, scheduling, any process, any of the big time processes that we just glazed over in this can be found right on this playlist right here. So after you get settled in, or maybe if you're an administrator watching this to try to figure out, all right, how can I onboard or train my new staff? This resource is going to be excellent for you. It's a new user series. We've got everything in JMC Office. We even have some JMC Teacher, the ABCs of JMC Teacher in here as well. So it's videos that you can pass along to folks as well. Any questions about how you can receive support? As always, we encourage folks to reach out to training@jmcinc.com as well, and we can schedule your one-on-one session with a trainer. Seeing any questions there? So it's time to wrap this baby up with some JMC news and upcoming events. June is an important month for us. Not only we have some Minnesota State reporting stuff and digging into tuition and fees, and we're working on back to school online registration and our new user series stuff, but we also have our summer kickoff, which I mentioned this at the top. June 18th, June 20th, we're going to be in Minnesota and Iowa. Minnesota, I believe it's the Plymouth Community Center on the 18th, and then it's the FFA Center in Iowa and in Ankeny on the 20th. We've got a full slate of training and fun games, whole bunch of swag to take home, great food, and best of all, we've got best-selling author Joe Beckman, who is going to be performing a keynote. And I've had the opportunity to work with Joe throughout this process. He's a great guy. I love his message. His message just goes hand in glove with what our mission is at JMC, is to try to streamline processes for you to help you make connections with families and with your students. and have the time to do so in your busy schedule. And Joe Beckman is all about making connections. So we hope to see you there. If you're interested in back to school online registration, I invite you to check out that YouTube video series on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about a JMC Sandbox site that will allow you to play in a sandbox that's free from making any mistakes that are going to harm your current data, please reach out to sales@jmcinc.com to find out how you can acquire a sandbox site in JMC. This coming soon, we have a gate portal in JMC office available, along with our community message center and the general store. So some new innovations coming out in JMC here in the next few months, or the community messenger is out already. So we invite you to check those out. Email training@jmcinc.com if you are interested in becoming a beta tester for Gate or for general store. For Brian and Amy, thank you for joining us for this weekly webinar. We will hope to see you at the summer conference. Check out our YouTube channel, and we will catch you on the flip side.